I'm best-selling author Brian W. Smith, and you're watching Amplified Exposure Live with Teresa B. Let's get it.
Keep shining, let it shine like a diamond. Keep shining, let it shine like a diamond.
What's up, Facebook? This is your girl, Teresa B, coming to you live and direct from Amplified Exposure Live. Tonight, I have my wonderful guest. She's so pretty sitting over there in the bright light. Her name is Jamilah, and I'm always messing up names. I want to say Ewing or Ewing.
Ewing, Jamilah Ewing. Yes, ma'am.
Ewing. Jamilah Ewing. She is the future of all future books. She's about to be a best-selling author out there. And I wanted to present her new book and her material. Why? Because I love authors. She came on today, not just because she's this dope new writer that came to the scene, but she came on today because she likes me. So for those of you that are out there in La La Land, TV Land, and all the other lands, listen up. We got 30 minutes of goodness because we want to hear about this fabulous new book, and we're going to take it to higher heights. Hello, lovely lady. How are you?
How are you, Miss Teresa B? It's so nice to be on your show today.
Thank you for coming on my show. I try hard to, make sure that I pump it up before we get started,
All right. Like that.
Look, I'm a little older. My energy ain't like it used to be, but I try.
Hey.
So tell us, how in the world did you get here? How did you start writing books?
Well, I've been journaling for years, and I used to write short stories when I was younger. But I'm someone that I started out, I've been in the hair industry, in the beauty industry for over 20 years. And when I tell you, I have 100 stories of working in the Black salon experience. And this is one that's an amalgamation of characters that I've met and worked with over the years. And, I just kind of saw a quote one time on social media from our Queen Mother, Toni Morrison. And it was a quote that said, if there is a story that you have not read, then, and you would like to read, you must write it. And it gave birth to this. So for me, just working in the salons, seeing things in entertainment. I used to work in a entertainment environment in Atlanta for a little while, and hearing stories, working with few celebrities in the game. And I just said, you know what? We got client confidentiality, but I said, you know what? I wonder if I should just, put my ideas together and create a project. And that gave birth to the prototype.
Wow. Yes. So at what age did you start doing hair?
I began doing hair at about 16. And I was really excited to have BET. I'm old enough to know exactly who Donnie Simpson is without Googling it. And, I watched TLC. I was a huge fan of TLC. And T-Boz had this cold-blooded haircut. It was parted down the middle and it was blonde. And she had the, cut flat iron look, and it was cut just above her ear. And I remember being so excited to cut my hair like that on my own. And I just kind of started doing hair. And then I finally went into the vocational program my junior year of high school. And so I've been doing hair for friends and family, I'd say, since I was about 15 years old, putting perms in my auntie's hair, relaxers. Well, the best thing to say is relaxers. But I would do box braids. At the time, box braids. You remember when Brandy was just coming on the scene?
Right.
Had the big gold balls on her braids.
Yeah.
Waves were popping. And French rolls. That's how long I've been doing hair. Listen, when I tell you, I've been doing hair a long time. But I just really just love the experience itself. And I said, this is what I want to do professionally. And I had a salon for 7 years, and then we finally closed back in January so that I could pursue this next chapter of my life as an author.
Awesome, awesome. So let me tell you something about that T-Boz haircut. So I tried to do that on one of my sisters.
Oh.
And it didn't work out so well.
So
that's when I knew my calling was not hair.
Okay, that's okay.
Let's just say she had a little bald spot in the back. I'm just saying, but yeah.
But you know what? You gave it a shot. The glass is half full. You gave it a shot.
Ooh, yeah, I would have messed up. I wouldn't be able to write a book like you or have the experiences because I would have messed up so many heads that they would just kick me out the shop.
Oh, that's happened to me plenty of times too. That's happened with me on my way through beauty school, and I'm just glad my sisters still speak to me to this day because I tried just about every relaxer I saw on Sally's on them, from Bantu to Precise to Shanique to Dudley's. And just about everything else in between, oil sheen blowouts. I mean, I'm so glad I didn't start a fire in my mother's kitchen. I didn't mind trying what I could.
Right.
So
right.
I'm with you. I'm just glad my sisters still speak to me to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you give Jerry curls?
I didn't give Jerry curls. I did give S curls though. I did give S curls. You remember the group when Total was really hot? And they would lay their edges, and everybody had the curly look up top and cut down in the back, or they
right.
have some funky red in the top. And I see it coming back with the blonde
and
stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I was around when that was first hot. Y'all bringing that back? I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I like it's a low maintenance cut. You just have to keep it tapered up every 2 weeks. But I'm not mad at the low texturizer cut. But I didn't do S curls or wave nouveaux. The smell when I would work in the salon, it would just really drive me nuts. And the fumes. I mean, my elders used to do them at the salon that I worked at when I was really, getting started. But yeah, the smell, I couldn't handle the smell.
Yeah.
I did with chitlins for me, like.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah.
It was really, really bad. I have an Aunt Pauline that she lived till she was 94, but she was doing hair until she was 92.
Yeah.
And she didn't go back and take the classes like regular folks did. And so, so it was a little, by 92, it was like, no, auntie, stop. Like, don't do that.
You should go ahead and enjoy your years in the shade with lemonade.
Exactly. So I can only imagine with some of the stories that you heard, because sitting in her salon, I heard a lot. I got an earful myself. So if you can tell us, like, give me like the very first couple of years of you doing hair, like the story that may have wowed you or surprised you coming from one of your clients.
Wow, there's so many. I think that first I'll say this. I grew up kind of sheltered. So we weren't allowed around. I mean, certain relatives, my dad, my mom, they were like, listen, y'all can't, we love our cousins over here, but y'all can't stay the night, or, y'all can go to this cookout or whatever. So I grew up kind of sheltered. So when I first moved to Columbus, Ohio from Mansfield, where I was born and raised, I think one of the things that kind of shocked me going from a small community like being in Mansfield, Ohio, to a bigger city like Columbus was the amount of Black women who grew up without a father figure. And it was actually eye-opening because I had so many Black men in my life, from my uncles to our cousins, our elders, our great cousins. It was almost like a southern town, of African Americans, foundational African Americans, in this small group on the north side of Mansfield, Ohio. And there was about 4 churches. Everybody knew everyone. So coming to Columbus, it was a culture shock to hear stories about women and say, Jamilah, you know what? You need to shut up. At least you had a dad. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, what did I say? And I'm like, don't say that about your dad, or don't say that about your stepdad, or, you should say this. You did, like, you should be quiet. And I'd be like, okay. I guess I'll sip my tea and sit down. But at the end of the day, I think that was the most jarring,
Mhm.
And then the ones who did have fathers, there were always stories of how they would see him on the weekend or for the summer. And, not everyone, but a significant amount of
Mhm.
these stories about not having a father in the home. And it was jarring to me, to say the least.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you've heard, the struggle of African American women trying to raise these boys as single parents.
Yeah.
What advice did you give?
When I became a little bit more, I guess, seasoned in the
Mhm.
salon, um, for myself, I would kind of give experiences of what my uncles would tell me, and my father and my grandfather. And they say, "Oh, my son is acting up." And then I'm like, "Well, sis, have you asked him what he felt about going on vacation there? Or have you asked him what he feels or thinks of your new boyfriend? Or maybe he's acting out of school because, you didn't, speak to him before you moved in with your new boyfriend. Like, do you
Mhm.
communicate with them, or, and things like that?" And we would have conversation. They wouldn't get offended. A lot of these sisters would be like, "You know what? I didn't ask him what he thought, or I
Right.
didn't ask him how he feels.
Right.
Um, I'm his mama. He's supposed to do what I say." And I'm like, "But do you think that's why he's acting out at school, or do you think that's why he's getting into fights at the bus stop,
Mhm.
or?" And so I would just urge them to communicate, like the way my father did with us and my uncles did with us. Because I had a whole platoon of uncles around us all the time, and they would just say little things like, "Listen, don't get involved with no man that don't have a little money in his pocket now."
Mhm.
We'd be like, "Okay," and they would just drop little stuff all the time at the cookout and what have you.
Right.
And so we would just enjoy our uncles, and we always had these examples of Black divine masculine energy around us all the time.
Mhm. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that in this generation, because back in the day when you had children, even if you and the husband, weren't like my grandparents, even if you weren't tight, the woman would still remain in the home for the sake of raising those children with a father.
Absolutely.
And now it was like, I guess after women's rights, we was like, power to the people, we ain't doing this. So so things were a little different. And I'm sure as you being in the salon from a very little girl all the way up until what present time, you could see the vast changes in family dynamics from when you started versus now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
the difference in generations and how we handle things,
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge, I would say, from maybe 2010 to now, there's a huge difference in parenting and the way, like, children who, I guess I would say impressionable children, might not even listen to their parents, and instead they'll go to social media. So
Right.
that's something that I'm kind of trying to get used to seeing, because at the salon and in church and, places of worship, it took a village. It was a whole community saying, honey, you don't want to leave the house in that. Now, that's
Right.
not ladylike. You need to go and put on a slip. Or
Right.
you'd be like, "Okay, Sister Fluellen," but nowadays if you say that to a young lady, she may be like, "Oh, you need to mind your business," or might say something or give an attitude. And there's a generation that will just simply not do that,
Right.
because they know that Sister Fluellen might tell Grandma Jones, and Grandma Jones is your grandma, and she might have to come outside and say, "Listen, your grandchild caught an attitude with me, and you need to check her." So it was a community. It's not the same anymore. It's just
Mm-hmm.
very different. We don't know our neighbors. We don't
Yeah.
talk to them. We don't look them in the eye. We just get our stuff out of the car from Trader Joe's and walk straight on in the house. But just the generation gap, I believe, has a lot to do with that. So I definitely agree to your point. I definitely agree that things have changed drastically.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so I know I have a couple of girlfriends that do hair, and one thing that they would always tell me is that doing hair was a ministry,
Mm-hmm.
because of the things that they would hear. And some women would come in confidentiality about domestic violence, and some other forms of abuse. Have you ever experienced that during your journey?
I've seen a lot of domestic abuse, emotional abuse, uh, mental abuse. And, when you have someone coming in, um, someone's husband or boyfriend, and they come in and say, listen, I'm going to pay you to do her hair just like this picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How much is it going to cost? And you see the woman sitting there and she just looks at the floor the whole time. And I'm like, well, what does she want to get done? So
Right.
there were things like that happening that would really disturb me. I'm an empath, so it would really, and just when you talk with them and they barely want to say a couple of words, and you're like, she's checked out.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that she's numb and he's controlling,
Right.
this poor young lady or this young woman, and you just don't know what the backstory is.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's rough because you don't want to pry.
Right.
You don't want to pry and ask too many questions, because guess what? You want to get repeat business. So it's like, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but I also want to know what is going on. Is there a journey? Do you need help? Is there something I can do? Can I get you a cup of water or tea? Or do you want to chat while you're under the dryer with your roller set? And then I've seen situations where, women have come in for a curly look sew-in, right? Oh, I'm going to Bahamas and, I'm going to go meet his family, whatever. And then 2 days later before the trip, yeah, he didn't like it. Take it all the way out. And it's like, sis, didn't you want this? Look, you picked it out of the magazine. Well,
Right.
He didn't like it. He wants me to wear it flat iron to meet his parents. So if I get it wet, I'm going to just have to keep flat iron it. It's what he wants. And so I have to keep him happy. So they would self-sacrifice to keep
Mm-hmm.
someone else happy. And I thought that was pretty disturbing. And so you'll see a lot of that in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Just emotional abuse, mental abuse, narcissism, and just trying to get our brothers to be accountable. I had a couple critics say that they enjoy the Thursday group and all of the Friday group in the book because they were supporting each other, and
Right.
that would happen from time to time in the salon too. And so they're based off of a real life group that would come in on Thursdays. My real life ladies who had appointments. They were professionals. They were nurses, educators, accountants, sorority ladies. And sometimes we would have a little vino or maybe some cheese, or, someone would bring in some ginger beer. And
Mm-hmm.
we would talk about relationships. We would talk about our struggles. We would talk about work and what was going on with, oh, this guy got a promotion and he just started and I've been there for 5 years. I wonder why that is. And then,
Mm-hmm.
we would just talk about, oh, honey, listen, I have a baby shower to go to this weekend. What do you guys think I should get for a gift? And just things like that. And we would get together and just talk and enjoy one another and laugh. We would celebrate our birthdays together. And so, everybody, the feedback has been incredible off of the book, just based off of the influence of the real life ladies of the Thursday crew. Had kind of changed the name and, made them into the Friday group. Even though they aren't the actual characters, they're inspired by those real life characters that we used to get together with on Thursdays. And so, the response has been overwhelming, and I'm just so happy that it's received well.
Right. Right. Okay, so hold up the book for me. Tell us the name of the book.
The Prototype.
The Prototype. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I hope there's that glare. Okay.
Yeah.
It's based on it's inspired by, the title was inspired by my favorite Outkast song. I'm a huge hip hop fan, and so it's named after. Okay, there we go. It's named after the Prototype. Shout out to 3 Stacks. Big boy, love you guys.
Wow, that cover is beautiful. Hold that up again. Wait a minute. Who did that artwork?
There's a young lady named Mandy Hungerland who did this. She's based in Cincinnati, Ohio. She's an incredible artist, and she designed the front cover there. It's a collage art, and what you see here is that it's torn. And the main character, Jadira, she's torn. She has to make a decision in her life. This is a love story, but it's definitely a journey to the love that she deserves. And Mandy also, she did the back cover art too. I love the orchids. I love purple. I love the flowers. And that's the front cover there.
Wow.
So
there you have it, folks. The Prototype. That is beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Proud of you, Miss Jamilah.
Thank you so much.
You're doing big things over there. You're doing big
things. I'm trying.
Well, I appreciate you for telling your story, because I am an author lover because I'm an author. Yes, and I want to commend you for working in the community, helping women, because again, it is a ministry and women need that outlet. I mean, I literally, when I was going through a divorce, I would go get my hair done every week just to talk. So,
Absolutely.
so
And that's
it's
what we have to do. Sometimes we have to just release
right,
because,
right.
you know, we hold so much inside.
We do.
And sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm going to go crazy.
Mhm.
And I think, too, just based off of the main character again, Jadira, she's holding things in. And once, you know, this incident happens to her, people are like, why did you call me? Why did you tell me you were going through these things? We could have
Mhm.
been there for you. But let me tell you something about Black women. And I know you already know this. We don't want to look weak. And
Right.
we don't want to look crazy. And we don't look like we can't handle it. And what do we say to one another? Oh, girl, it's fine. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. But really inside, you are literally heartbroken,
Mhm.
crushed, depressed, struggling with anxiety, angry. Sometimes it's your hormones. But we put on the brave face and we say, you know what? I'm fine. But really, what we're telling ourselves is, I'm going to push through it. I'm going to push through it and I'm going to keep my faith intact. I'm going through something, but I don't want people to know that I'm dealing with these things. And so that, you know, I touch on that a little bit in the story, you know, so it's a story that I've always wanted to read.
Awesome. How many pages is the book?
It's 196 pages. Yes,
Nice.
ma'am.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a nice size.
Nice. And who was the editor?
We had Mandy Huggerland. Oh, I'm sorry, Mandy Huggerland do the final edits, and Rashida Rawls of Rock Communications. She's based in
Awesome.
Chicago. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
So if you had to do it all over again, this writing process, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I don't know if I could have done it differently. I literally wrote this book between clients. Like I literally would sit down and like have my caramel latte, and I
Mm-hmm.
would wait for my next client, and I would just write, and you know, I would listen to music and I would write, and then when the next one come in, I would just put my pen down. I wrote them on notebooks. I didn't use a laptop.
Right.
And it's something about writing, like seeing the word and then erasing and be like, no, I'm gonna put disturbance for that. Okay, no, I
Mm-hmm.
don't want disturbance. I think I want this or that, and the right word comes to you when you see it on the paper and you write it out. And so I have about 7 or 8 notebooks. That is the actual book, and it's raggedy and tattered. You know, it's torn up. But I don't know if I could have done it differently. I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't change a thing. I
Okay.
wouldn't change a thing. The process was an experience.
Okay. And would you consider yourself a pantster, someone who writes at the seat of their pants, or an outliner?
I'd say a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a little bit of both. You know, I like to plan it out too.
Then you're definitely an outliner. You're
Well,
definitely an outliner.
yeah, I heard an author say, I was watching a author talk on a certain video that I watched, and he said, "Listen, write your ending first,
Yes.
and just fill everything else in, and
Mm-hmm.
start each chapter with something that is going to shock people or make them feel an emotion of some sort." And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Okay," and so I held on to that, and I never let go. Never let.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Well, you're doing a good job. I'm very proud of you, and I hope that there's like a part 2 to this book. Because when it becomes a New York Times bestseller, you're gonna look at this show and you're gonna be like, "Hey, let me go ahead and write that second book."
Right. Hey, we're gonna manifest that. We're
We're
gonna
gonna
manifest
manifest. Exactly. That's what we do. We manifest. So
absolutely.
thank you for helping all of the African American, well, all women, period, not just African American, with your story. I really do appreciate that. So hold up your book again.
Okay. There we go.
The prototype, y'all. That cover boy is banging. I love it.
Incredible, isn't it? I mean, I don't
Yes.
my own horn, but it is my horn, you know.
Love it.
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to reach you to invite you to some book signings or book tour, how would they reach you?
You can reach me at
Don't give out your phone number. Just give
yeah.
me emails and things of that nature.
Okay, my Instagram handle is Mahogany Design Studio.
Mhm.
On Facebook, it is simply Jamilah Ewing. And then I have I'm sorry. Oh, Jamilah Ewing. at gmail.com.
Awesome. Do you have a website?
Yes, it's right. The prototype.
No, prototypethenovel.com.
Prototypethenovel.com.
Prototypethenovel.com. Hey, husband. I know that's a husband back there somewhere.
Come on. You saw his hand in here earlier.
Yeah, come on. Come in the camera.
Come on, honey.
Support your wife.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. Ain't nothing but love. See, she could not have written that book without the support of you. So you get to get on camera too. Never think that you have to sit in the background because we want to hear from you too.
Yeah, no,
Beautiful couple.
I'm the silent partner. I just hold up the cue cards and make sure. But yeah, prototypethenovel.com, at Mahogany Design Studio on Instagram, at Ewing Jamilah on Instagram, Jamilah Ewing on Facebook. And you can go to Amazon.com, pre-order right now, and you can actually read if you go to Linktree / Epic EHPIC World, all one word. You put it in there, and you'll see all the different links. You can read the first chapter of the book. You can pre-order from your vendor of choice. Buy it direct if you want. So yeah, follow on social media, the whole nine. So please, thank you for having her on the show.
Oh, absolutely. She's a gem. And you are her Stedman. You keep it up. You know all the social media handles. She didn't have to say a word. You better go, Stedman Ewing.
I take that.
That's right.
Yeah, I would definitely see that.
Well, thank y'all so much for coming on my show this evening. Make sure that everybody that's listening, please tune in, go to Amazon, go pre-order, go do whatever you can to support this lovely lady and her writing. It is an awesome, getting tongue-tied, blessing and a pleasure having you on my show. I wish you all the best and take care.
Thank you
so much.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.